You're about to hear the story of Anne, a 23-year-old young woman who, like many of us, struggles with the constant battle between enthusiasm and frustration, and lived in a small apartment surrounded by an array of new books, blank notebooks, and gardening materials, all purchased with the hope of finding a new purpose. At this moment, Anne is sitting in front of her desk, staring at a pile of books. She had started reading an exciting novel, but after a few pages, her enthusiasm began to fade. The book, which once seemed promising, now feels like a burden, a reminder of yet another unfulfilled attempt. With a sigh of discouragement, she closes the book and places it back on the shelf, among other unexplored volumes. In another part of the apartment, a small area dedicated to gardening is full of pots and seeds, and had envisioned turning this space into a green oasis. But the pots are still empty, and the seeds have never been planted. She finds herself in an endless cycle of starting something new with great anticipation, only to abandon the project when the initial excitement wears off. As Anne looks around at the mess surrounding her, she feels trapped in a cycle of demotivation. Every new attempt to find a hobby or goal is made with fervor, but the energy and interest that emerge at the beginning soon dissipate. She feels overwhelmed by the pressure to meet the expectations she has placed on herself, and not knowing how to continue, she ends up giving up. Looking at her social media, and sees friends and family sharing their accomplishments and happy moments. The constant comparison to these seemingly successful lives only intensifies her sense of inadequacy. She wonders how they manage to stay focused and motivated, while she constantly feels lost and unable to move forward. This is the introduction to Anne's world, where the cycle of demotivation becomes a daily challenge. You feel her frustration and helplessness, and the question remains: how will she break this cycle and find a path that brings her true satisfaction and focus? As Anne confronts the piles of books and unused gardening pots, she decides to seek refuge in her phone screen. The TikTok feed, with its relentless barrage of short, stimulating videos, quickly becomes her escape. She swipes through the touchscreen, consuming a flood of content that seems promising and fun, but deep down, only serves to exacerbate her sense of disorientation. Time flies as she gets lost in the endless scrolling, each video offering a brief distraction but no sense of fulfillment. The phone in her hands becomes an anchor, pulling her away from any sense of real purpose or goal, and realizes that the constant stimulation of the videos makes her feel temporarily filled. But at the end of the day, that feeling is replaced by deep dissatisfaction. The glance into the virtual world leads to endless comparisons. She sees friends traveling to exotic places, others showcasing their skills in new projects, and many sharing joyful moments with their personal achievements. Others' lives always seem more vibrant and purposeful compared to hers, and this perception becomes a constant source of frustration for Anne. When she tries to return to reality and engage in more productive activities, she finds that her focus is fragmented. Even the hobbies she had chosen with such care end up losing their appeal. The feeling of always being connected yet disconnected from the things that truly matter creates a painful gap between what Anne desires and what she can sustain. The idea of using social media as an escape, which initially seemed harmless, now reveals its true cost, and begins to realize that constant comparison and the habit of seeking instant gratification are contributing to her difficulty in finding and maintaining genuine interest. Distraction has become an integral part of her routine, and the momentary pleasure becomes a new obstacle in the quest for real purpose. She feels a growing sense of despair, knowing that the path to staying focused and finding satisfaction is filled with challenges. The desire to escape this vicious routine is palpable, but social media, with its empty promises and fleeting gratifications, continues to hold Anne in a prison of distraction and frustration. As Anne sinks deeper into social media, one day she comes across a simple yet powerful piece of advice. Choose something you like and dedicate just 2 minutes of your day to it. At first glance, the idea seems almost trivial, but something about the simplicity of the concept appeals to her, and decides to try this approach. She chooses gardening, a hobby that had always fascinated her, but that she had never really given a chance. Instead of pressuring herself to create a perfect garden or spend hours on the project, she starts with the commitment to spend just 2 minutes a day caring for the plants. Initially, these 2 minutes seem insignificant, but Anne soon realizes that the experience is more enjoyable than she expected. Each day, Anne dedicates this brief period to plant care. She waters, arranges the pots, and observes the growth of small seedlings. These moments are brief, but they provide a sense of accomplishment. The act of caring for the plants, even for a short time, begins to bring a feeling of connection and pleasure that Anne hadn't experienced in a long time. Moreover, the reduced time dedicated to the hobby helps Anne overcome the mental block that had prevented her from engaging in something for a longer period. Seeing progress, even small, motivates her to continue. This small daily victory begins to accumulate, and Anne notices a change in her perspective. The weight of expectations and comparison decreases as she focuses on the simplicity of caring for something she genuinely enjoys. As the days pass, Anne realizes that these 2 daily minutes have a positive ripple effect. She feels more engaged and less pressured to be perfect from the start. The small commitment turns into a rewarding habit, and the time she spends on social media decreases, replaced by moments of genuine satisfaction with her hobby. This new approach helps Anne see that focus doesn't need to come from big changes or monumental efforts. Sometimes, the key to maintaining interest is to start small and allow gradual progress to lead to satisfaction. This discovery is a light at the end of the tunnel for Anne, showing her that even small actions can have a significant impact on her journey to finding focus and fulfillment. Over time, Anne realizes that the small gardening practice, while enjoyable, doesn't solve all her challenges. She feels that there are still aspects of her life that need a more structured approach. The idea of creating a routine begins to take shape in her mind, and she decides that it's time to implement some broader changes, and starts to set a fixed schedule for her daily activities. She creates a timetable that includes periods dedicated to gardening, studying, and leisure. Instead of trying to do everything at once, she breaks down her tasks into more manageable time blocks. Now, gardening is part of a broader routine that also includes time for reading, exercise, and social interactions. At first, the structure feels a bit rigid, but Anne soon realizes that this approach helps her maintain focus and clarity. She finds that having a daily plan makes it easier to stick to her commitments and avoid feeling overwhelmed. The routine brings a sense of stability and control, helping to combat the sense of disorientation that had previously tormented her. Additionally, Anne decides to adopt the practice of setting specific goals for each area of her life. She writes these goals in a notebook and reviews them regularly to monitor her progress. These goals include small milestones in gardening, such as planting new seeds and observing the growth of the plants, as well as goals related to studying and building new skills. With this new structure, Anne finds a new form of motivation. She allows herself to celebrate small victories, like the growth of a new leaf or the completion of a chapter in a book. These small achievements, once seen as insignificant, now become points of pride and sources of encouragement. As she follows this new routine, Anne also begins to set limits on the time spent on social media. She sets specific times to check her networks and strives not to let virtual browsing interfere with the time she dedicates to her productive activities. The feeling of being in control of her time is invigorating, and the constant comparison with others diminishes. Anne's journey to create a routine and set goals helps her find a healthier balance in her life. The structure and clarity she gains make her more resilient in the face of challenges, and the constant practice begins to show its benefits. As Anne adapts to her new routine, she starts to notice a pattern. Consistency is becoming a powerful ally in her journey. However, she also encounters moments when motivation wanes, and the desire to revert to old habits of procrastination and comparison resurfaces. And knows that the true key to success is consistency and decides to make a conscious effort to maintain it. She commits to following her routine even on days when she doesn't feel motivated, and begins to recognize that consistency doesn't mean being perfect every day, but rather continuing to move forward even when challenges arise. She establishes a practice of revisiting her goals weekly, reflecting on the progress made and adjusting the plan as needed. This not only keeps Anne engaged, but also helps her see that she is making progress, even if it's small. During these reviews, Anne realizes that focusing on her goals helps her cope with stress and anxiety. The structure and routine offer a sense of order amidst the chaos, and she begins to adopt stress management techniques, such as meditation and breathing exercises, to complement her new approach. These methods help her stay centered and calm, making it easier to maintain focus on her activities, and also starts to understand that social interaction is an important part of her well-being. She makes a conscious effort to balance her time between activities that energize her and social interactions that refresh her. Although socializing is still a challenge, she dedicates herself to finding ways to connect with others that are enjoyable and meaningful. Participating in interest groups, such as book clubs and gardening events, provides an opportunity to socialize in an environment that aligns with her passions. Anne's new approach not only improves her ability to stay focused on her goals, but also transforms her perspective on her life. She begins to see challenges as opportunities for growth rather than insurmountable obstacles. The small daily victories accumulate and lead her to celebrate not only tangible progress but also personal development, even with the inevitable ups and downs, and learns to be kind to herself. She recognizes that the path to success is not linear and that each day offers a chance to start again. The constant practice of gratitude and self-compassion helps her maintain a positive mindset and face challenges with courage and determination. This new approach gives Anne the confidence to continue her journey, knowing that consistency and self-compassion are important allies in her quest for focus and personal fulfillment. Over time, Anne realizes that the biggest challenge is dealing with the stress and anxiety that still persist in her life. Despite her progress in creating a routine and setting goals, the pressure of balancing all her responsibilities and the desire to achieve her goals can be overwhelming. She knows that to stay focused and keep moving forward, she needs to find ways to manage these feelings effectively, and decides to seek professional support to help her deal with stress and anxiety. She starts attending therapy sessions, where she learns stress management techniques and strategies for dealing with anxiety in a healthy way. Therapy offers Anne a safe space to explore her emotions, understand her sources of stress, and develop tools to cope with challenges. In addition to therapy sessions, Anne dedicates herself to incorporating self-care practices into her daily routine. She experiments with different relaxation methods, such as guided meditation and yoga, which help her find an inner balance. These moments of self-care not only help her feel calmer and more centered, but also provide a necessary break from the frenetic pace of daily life, and also begins to reflect on the importance of setting healthy boundaries in her life. She learns to say no when necessary and to prioritize her needs without feeling guilty. This practice of setting boundaries helps reduce the feeling of being overwhelmed and creates a more balanced space between her responsibilities and personal well-being. By focusing on stress management and self-care, Anne notices a positive change in her ability to stay focused on her goals and hobbies. She feels more resilient in the face of adversity and more capable of dealing with challenges without letting them overwhelm her. Anne's journey to find emotional balance and manage stress also leads her to reevaluate her goals and priorities. She realizes that while it's important to have clear goals, it's equally crucial to maintain a flexible and adaptable perspective. This new approach helps her adjust her goals as needed without losing sight of what's most important to her. With these new tools and perspectives, Anne feels more equipped to continue her journey. She understands that the path to staying focused and achieving personal fulfillment is a continuous process that requires constant care for her emotional well-being. The practice of stress management and self-care becomes an essential part of her life, contributing to a healthier balance and a lasting sense of fulfillment. As Anne continues her journey, she reaches a crucial point of reflection. The balance she has found between routine, self-care, and stress management begins to show its true rewards, and realizes that despite the challenges she faced, persistence and adaptation were key to creating a more satisfying and focused life. She comes to understand that the real secret is not just in finding the perfect hobby or goal, but in learning to navigate the complexities of life in a way that allows for personal growth and fulfillment, and acknowledges that every small step, every adjustment in her routine, and every moment dedicated to self-care have contributed to a significant transformation. She now sees that her journey was not about finding a single purpose, but about creating a sustainable and meaningful path for herself, and begins to share her experience with others, telling her story of how she faced demotivation, comparison, and stress to find a healthier balance. She emphasizes that the process of personal growth is unique for everyone, and that it's important to be patient and kind to oneself. The central message she conveys is the importance of continuing to move forward, even when obstacles seem insurmountable. With a new sense of clarity, and issues a call to action for her readers. Don't underestimate the power of small steps. Find something you love, even if it's just for 2 minutes a day, and let that turn into a meaningful practice. Create a routine that works for you, set realistic goals, and above all, take care of yourself along the way. Remember that the journey to finding focus and fulfillment is ongoing and isn't about a single destination, and also encourages readers to seek support when needed. If you feel overwhelmed, don't hesitate to seek help. Whether it's a therapist, a support group, or close friends, support can make all the difference in your journey. She concludes her story with a reminder that even on the most difficult days, progress is possible, and every small step counts. Every day is a new opportunity to grow and get closer to what really matters to you. The key is to keep going, adjust, and remember that you have the power to shape your own life. And smiles as she looks at the garden that now blooms with life, symbolizing her own growth and transformation. She feels deep gratitude for having found balance and focus, and she rejoices in knowing that the journey, with all its struggles and triumphs, has led her to a place of true satisfaction.